Hello. Can everybody hear me? Denzel. To the president of PHADA, Mark Gillette, PHADA staff, board of trustees, Rutgers staff, commissioners, families, friends, and most importantly today, the graduates of the Executive Director Education Program. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools," to emphasize the importance of unity and cooperation. His message, delivered on March 22nd, 1964 in St. Louis, Missouri, during a program commemorating the passing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, underscored that as a society and global community, we must work together harmoniously and support one another regardless of our differences. If we fail to do so, we risk creating a divided and dysfunctional society, ultimately leading to our collective downfall. Dr. King's words reminds us that unity and mutual understanding are essential for the survival and progress of all. As I stand here today before you, I am filled with pride and gratitude as we celebrate our graduation from the Executive Director Education Program, a professional development opportunity offered to us through the partnership of PHADA and Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. This moment represents not just a culmination of our hard work and dedication, but also the beginning of a new chapter in our professional journeys. This program has been more than just a series of classes in ethics and executive and organizational leadership, financial and management, and legal affairs and human resources. It has been an opportunity to engage with others, to engage with experts, learn from one another, and share our unique challenges and successes, as well as support each other in our tough times. The discussions we've had and the relationships we had are built on valuable assets that we will carry with us as we move forward. It is incredible how we cheer for one another and root for one another when we hear one of us has reached a milestone or has been selected as the next CEO, president, or executive director of an affordable housing organization. As graduates, we are now a part of a network of leaders dedicated to making a difference in the lives of the residents we serve. More importantly, we must implement what we have learned and continue advocating for affordable housing and equitable opportunities for all. I'd like to thank my chairperson, who's here today, Ravonda Smith, and my board from Hudson Housing Authority for supporting my vision as we push beyond the limits and boundaries of our community. And if you'll indulge me briefly, I'd like to share with you my why. More than 30 years ago, Sadie could no longer afford market rate housing and had the opportunity to move to public housing. She seized this opportunity and decided to make the best of it for herself and her one child, who was about 5 years old. While living there, she enrolled in community college and transferred her credits to a four-year university after receiving her associate's degree. She then earned a degree in early childhood education when her child was 9 years old, but Sadie didn't stop there. She continued her education at the same university, and by the time her child was 11, she had graduated with her master's degree and became a special education teacher. She explained to her child why they lived in government housing, saying, "We will live here until you graduate from college because it is the only way that we can afford it." In case you haven't figured out, Sadie was my mother. I was a curious child, always asking questions, and I still do, because I wanted to know a lot about everything. And I share this because I lived in public housing and noticed things that other children might have overlooked. I saw how the management office would send out notification advising us when our apartments would be painted or when services were interrupted. I watched the maintenance men carry out their jobs and knew precisely where to find them if we needed them, mostly because our lights went out all the time. And I probably was responsible for that. I can hear my mother yelling, going, "Jeffrey, are you using the toaster? You know I'm ironing, go get the maintenance man." So, what caught my attention as a young man is something that resonates still with me to this day, and that's community. My mother couldn't take me to school because she was working, so she dropped me off at Miss Geneva Bullock's house, apartment, every morning. Ms. Bullock was a teacher's aide, and she took me and other children in the housing development to school each day. Miss Alice Pate, they're significant because you see I remember their names. She took us home and watched us until our respective parents came to get us. My mother's contribution was to take any child who wanted to go to church, and that she did. She also provided freshly baked bread to the community and assigned me the responsibility of running back and forth throughout the development, making deliveries, which was probably my first initiation to community service. I realize now more than ever what the saying, "it takes a village to raise a child," really meant. The people in our community cared for one another and wanted to do whatever they could to help each other succeed. This concept of community has been embedded in me, and it moves me to do whatever I can to aid my fellow man in all facets of life, including, or particularly, those in need of public housing. I share my story with them to give them hope because I'm no different than they are. And they too, I encourage them that they too can change the trajectory of their lives by making adjustments and continuing to press forward. By the way, I graduated from Seton Hall University in New Jersey, the same institution that my mother attended. And shortly after I graduated, thank you. Go Pirates. Shortly after I graduated, my mother received her doctorate degree. Thank you. She received her doctorate in Christian education. Yes, she took the road less traveled, and she did not stop. She then purchased a 2-family home where she and my family resided until her passing in 2021. So you may be asking yourself why this is important to you as a public housing executive. It is important because as you leave this afternoon and embark on a new chapter of your career, I want you to think about Sadie, my mom, especially when times get tough. Remember that you are working to create a new community for others, to give them a hand up on the road to self-sufficiency and not a handout. Remember Sadie. Remember Sadie, even as you try to create or innovate with less, as HUD has charged us to do. Remember Sadie was one of the countless people who sacrificed their lives for their children to make a better life for the next generation. My mother, in particular, endured 23 years in public housing to improve my life and the lives of other children in our community. So as you move forward, let sweet Sadie's story remind you of your purpose and the impact you will have, and let that inspire you to continue to building better futures for all. Congratulations to the EDEP graduates. Thank you.